DLC Richmond was always going to be one of the hardest ones to practice for. Did you see that the winner, he posted that he played 758 best of 3 games online.
Oh,
And and then, webcam games, real life games, going to the third party tournaments. He said that he must have put in 1,500 hours worth of playing Lorcana just in this metagame, just in the Whispers metagame alone.
wow.
And you know what? If I mean, good for him. Like that is what it that is what it takes, I guess, to win a DLC. I don't have that time, you know. But I ran into Sapphire Emerald more than any other deck. I ran into it one, two, three, 4 times. I guess I played against Sapphire Emerald once on Friday, and then you played it no times.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, you did not play it on Friday at all. I think it was I think it comes back down to a lack of preparation. Like blue green was talked about really highly going into this tournament, and it makes sense because it is supposed to be really good into the amethyst strategies, and the amethyst strategies were supposed to be a plurality of all of the decks that were there. I mean, it makes sense that blue green was going to be really highly represented. I would like to think that if we had put in the reps that we knew we should have, we would have done a little bit better than we both ended up doing.
Yeah,
And I really can't blame anybody besides myself.
it's interesting you say that because, if we had time to put in the reps, I might have been playing a completely different deck. Because I got kind of stuck playing Blurple because I ran out of time to
Yeah,
become comfortable enough with another deck to
that's
feel
true.
like I could play it.
I felt the same thing with Amethyst Steel. Like I took Amethyst Steel. We both took the same decks from Milwaukee and updated them and learned the new version for Richmond. And I would say most of the prep time that we did was learning the metagame as opposed to learning the decks that we were going to play against. And I know that sounds the same, but, learning what to expect is different than learning how to play the deck. And if we had time to explore new options, I don't know, maybe you would have switched to blue green,
Well,
because
I
you're
I've
you're a sapphire player. So
yeah, it's been like well, maybe that's my next move for a while, I feel like, because yeah, I've been working my way through all of the Sapphire
you've
decks.
been working your way around
This
the
is how I
around the
learn the
chart.
game is I play Sapphire plus something else.
Yeah, and I think that would have been a natural evolution for you. I think you might have gotten dissuaded by set 9 blue green that was doing, like heads held high under the sea, or at least trying to do like heads held high under the sea combo, and like that
I,
one was cute but not amazing. It wasn't nearly the 1-2 punch that Prince Philip and Malicious Mean and Scary ended up being.
but I just
uh,
I don't even I don't really like those things. Like
right.
I'm not playing them, so maybe that's just easy for me to say, but it doesn't like okay, so when I played Ruby, Be Prepared existed, but that didn't feel the same because it affected me as well. And same same with I threw in the token spooky sight um for my infinity. deck. And yeah, while there aren't as many things that that affects on my side, it does affect me too.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, the things like malicious, mean, and scary and Prince
Prince Philip. Yeah.
combo don't make me happy, even if I'm the one playing them.
Yeah. Well, and I was going to bring up that you felt similarly to Ruby before you switched to Ruby Amethyst, but or not Ruby Amethyst, Ruby Sapphire, and yeah, I think you're right. It's a different beast entirely. Kind of the one sided nature of it, but I don't know. I think regardless, we were kind of locked into our choices just because our two decks were the ones that we had the most experience with, and they were not bad decks.
No,
They were not
no.
bad choices.
I feel like if we had, even if we were out of time, if we were playing ridiculous decks, we would have changed something.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I was still on Ruby Sapphire, like
Right.
like I'd be like, no,
Yeah,
no, no, no,
yeah.
no, no, no. We've got to. I've got to find the time, or I've got to accept that I'm going to be less prepared, but I've got to play something relevant.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, there's two schools of thought when it comes to something like that. And I think being unprepared with a meta deck is one of the paths. Being very prepared with an off meta deck is
Yeah.
another path to take, and I think both are valid in different ways. But given our situation of we lack the time to prepare, like it was always going to be we're going to choose one of the top four best decks in the format, or one of the top four most popular decks in the format, and become as good as possible at one of those decks. And it just so happened that the two decks that we took to Milwaukee were still completely viable.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, someone on Twitter, Whoa Chuck, he says, I've played in 6 DLCs and have 4 top 64s. With enough volume, all data shows I will win an invite. Having to wait 6 months to try again is such a joke.
So, in May, there's a CCQ in San Diego.
I saw that. That's true. Could be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Could be interesting. I know that our little team, our little ragtag team, has talked about going to more third-party events, which is definitely something I'm interested in as long as I can afford it. So that could be interesting, and that's far enough out, to make preparations. But I think the reason I bring up Whoa Chuck's tweet is it highlights what I think is one of the most pressing issues with the competitive play that we have right now, which is there's just not enough. There's just not enough of it, and the next DLC isn't until June, and there's no guarantee that we're going to get a ticket for that.
Yeah.
It's not only is it 5 months away, there's no guarantee that we're going to be able to participate. And so it's like, I'm the type of person that when I get locked into something, I just want to continue to do it. Like, I just want to do it over and over and over again, and I think that the structure of like the set championships, at least in our locale, is really good for that vibe, or for that tendency, because it's like, okay, here we go, Saturday, first weekend in the month, playing in a set champ. Okay, didn't win, gonna do it again tomorrow. Okay, didn't win, gonna do it again next Saturday. And you can just do that throughout the entire month, and at some point I have locked in enough that I can probably win one of them.
Right.
The problem is I can't do that with the DLCs. I can't do that with higher level tournaments. Anything higher than a set championship, it's just they're not frequent enough for me to do that. And so it begs a question of how does one break through your own skill ceiling? And I think that was, if not the topic that we're going to talk about today, very closely related to the topic that we're going to talk about today. So, welcome to Inca Podcast Play a Podcast,
a classic turn one play. I'm Amy Orr.
And I'm Matthew Orr Bridges. So, not to brag or anything, but I almost could have made top cut this weekend.
Yeah.
So my tournament on Saturday, I started out losing round 1. And then I did not lose again that day. And I ended day 1 at 7-1, which was an improvement from Milwaukee, where I ended at 6-2. And I was feeling good. I was feeling real good at the end of day 1, and then I left all that mojo behind. Left it all behind.
I do wonder if you had been able to just keep playing.
I know.
If it would have all been different.
I don't know. And you know, it's all superstition. It's all luck. It's something. I don't know what it is. Am I less susceptible to exhaustion than my opponents, and that's how I was able to win the latter half of my day? And that's why I lost at the very beginning and lost in day 2. You know what? I've never been a morning person.
Mm-hmm.
And so having to start day 2 at 8:30, I mean, I was pretty awake. I was pretty jazzed. So I don't know that is a good excuse. Also did not help that my round 9 opponent was Edmund Chu. Not a good start.
Yeah, there's lots of what ifs, you know? Like, did that break your spirit? And
right. Did I get on tilt?
Lost.
Yeah, after a 7-round winning streak.
And it was Ed Chu, and so you're like, oh god, like,
yeah, I was a little psyched, psyched out. Yeah, I don't know. I don't get nervous anymore. When I initially started playing in-person tournaments again after like 5 years of not playing in-person Magic, when I started playing in-person Lorcana, I was shaking because I was like, oh my god, this is a stranger sitting across from me, you know, and I hadn't done that in a while, and that doesn't happen anymore. And I never felt nervous in any of my rounds, even against Edmund Chu, right? But, you know, he popped up on my pairings, and I was like, oh, God, for real? I have to win 2 rounds today to get top 64. Just 2 out of 4. And I seriously am facing probably my toughest opponent in one of those 4 rounds, you know, like that couldn't wait.
Yeah.
and he was on blue-green, and that was definitely my toughest matchup. And I lost the die roll, which was a rookie mistake. I shouldn't have lost the die roll.
Should never lose the die roll, Matt.
Yeah, and I almost won game 1, but he had double malicious, mean, and scary Prince Philip board wipe, and you know that's how it goes. And then
See?
I
it's
got,
not fair.
I know. If he'd only had 1, I would have been fine, but he had 2, and then I got game 2. And then game 3 was just demoralizing. He just got a Clarabelle out on like turn 3. It was insane. Not turn 3, turn 4. And yeah, I don't know if that tilted me. I don't know what factors went into it. The day 2 competitors are obviously just better.
Sure.
They're just a higher caliber of player, and so that obviously has a factor. But yeah, I went 0-3 drop in day 2 and could have played the 12th round, didn't play the 12th round. Don't know if I would have won or lost it. If I had won, then my record would have been exactly the same as it was in Milwaukee. And so I'm choosing just to equate these two tournaments.
Yeah,
Milwaukee and Richmond were just the same for me.
Well,
in terms of ranking.
So, I mean, viewed in that way, you were far more prepared for Milwaukee than you were for Richmond. So
Yeah. So it's all a sham. Nothing matters. Prep time means nothing.
No. I'm saying that means you're getting better because you don't need as much practice. If you were to practice for Indianapolis the way that you were able to practice for Milwaukee, although
I don't know.
Although then there's the infinity of it all. So
there's the infinity of it all. There's the infinity variable. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It might just mean I got luckier. It might just mean because we were talking about the set 9 metagame being very variable. It was a very much a do you have it metagame, and I think set 10, I think Whispers really did a lot to solve that issue. I never felt as though it came down to do you have it? No. Cool, then I win because I have it. If yes and I don't. I don't think it came down to that nearly as much as it did in set 9.
With the exception of ramp. My Friday, I got ramp every single I won 5 out of the 6 rounds to start with, going into round 7 with 5-1, feeling pretty damn good. Encounter Ruby Amethyst, and I'm like, I can beat Ruby Amethyst. I can absolutely beat Ruby Amethyst. Oh no, I missed ramp. I can't beat Ruby Amethyst.
Yeah.
And then game 2, oh no, I missed ramp. I can't beat Ruby Amethyst.
Post-rotation Sapphire has been like that. Even pre-rotation Sapphire has kind of been like that for a little bit, Mm-hmm. But that never extended beyond turn 2 ramp in a way that the previous meta really shaped up to. It's hard for me to say whether or not I've gotten better from Milwaukee or if maybe I was just lucky. The way that I described it to you Sunday night was, I feel like my ability, my Lorcana skill is subject to rank decay. It comes from ladder games where you have a ladder system, and if you do not play, then your place on the ladder goes down. And so it's to keep you engaged and to make sure, once you reach a certain ranking, you don't just sit there, and you have incentive to actually continue to play even though you're at top of the ladder. You have to continue to play in order to keep that spot. So in the same way, I feel as though my skill is subject to rank decay. And the holidays, like we said, I really wasn't going to, we weren't really going to the local tournaments all that much. And so I was a little rusty coming back into it. But the thing is that local tournaments, the random Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday tournaments, I don't know that they really offset the decay that I'm experiencing at this point, because yes, I could sit down and jam a game with you randomly at the kitchen table, but if I'm sticking with video game analogies, tabletop games with you earn less points than Tuesday night tournaments with other people in our community, which earns less points than set championship matchups with good people, which earns less points than really any round at a DLC, which earns less points than the day 2 competitors at a DLC, right? And because I am now at a point where I'm really trying to break through and become one of the best players in a day 2 competition, I need to face players at a day 2 competition level. And that doesn't happen all the time. Like I think that anybody in our community is capable of being a day 2 competitor, of playing at that level. But I don't know that a local Tuesday tournament, I know for me personally, I am not playing nearly as well on a Tuesday night as I was on Saturday in Richmond.
Right.
I'm not as locked in. The prizes don't, it doesn't incentivize me to play at the highest level that I possibly could. And I don't think it should, to be honest. Like, the Tuesday night tournaments, I think, should be about having fun and just, kind of screwing around and maybe not even playing your best deck, trying some things out, testing some things. Ooh, what about if this color combination was a thing? How does this work? And, like kind of talking to your opponent about like what play lines you should do. Hey, I'm sorry, I'm thinking through this line and this line. You and I do that even when we're paired against in a tournament where we're like, I don't know what to do. And then the other one would be like, well, I think you got to do this and this, because if you do this, this, and this, then I do this, and you have to be prepared for, that sort of thing. And I think that that is what weekly tournaments should be. But they don't give the same experience that, me facing Edmund Chu in round 9 does.
Now,
and
to make a joke that's not a joke, which is
okay.
that's still basically my experience at DLCs because I'm a girl. So I'm sitting there thinking, and then they go, yeah, I mean, you probably need to deal with this first. And I'm like, yeah, thank you. I got this. Please do not help me.
I don't need your help. I know that I need to get rid of your Dumbo.
Yeah.
I know what it does. So your experience is going to be vastly different from mine. I have all of the privilege in the world, and I mean, you have some of it, but it feels as though at this point, from my point of view, my rank decay is larger than the experience I get by playing non-DLC events. Right? Or at least events that don't have the competition of a DLC, right? Third-party events are great, and I think that can really be an excellent way. That can be a solution that we talk about, because I think it has the same level of competition even without the prizes, the same level of prizing. I think it does have the same level of competition, but I think the amount that I would have to commit to going to locals is more than I can commit time-wise in order to offset the experience drain that I'm having right now. And so the fact that the next DLC isn't until June has me really worried, because I think if we ran back another DLC next month, I think I'd be able to do better. I don't know if I'd be able to do top cut, but I really feel as though I'd be able to crack top 64.
Yeah.
Because I needed 2 more wins. I needed 2 more wins to make top 64 in both Milwaukee and in Richmond. And I really feel as though I could do it if the DLC was next month. But I am concerned that I'm going to fall too much in my ranking, and either I'm going to do worse or I'm going to do exactly the same, which I don't know which would be more demoralizing.
I mean, I don't have an answer for you.
I mean, there's not an answer for us. Well, like I said, like I hinted at, the answer for us, the answer that we have agency for, is third party tournaments. And everybody from our city, we were sitting around on Sunday and we were discussing, hey, let's do more third party events. Let's travel to more third party events. Let's, do the same thing that we do for DLCs. And I think that that's a great idea. I don't know that I can justify the travel or the time commitment for 500 person tournaments as I could for, DLC Richmond and Milwaukee and hopefully Indianapolis. I don't know that I can justify that. I think they would have to be a much smaller turnaround time, like a Saturday, Sunday type thing, like fly out morning of, get there hopefully on time, fly out that night,
Right.
But I do think that is one of the few things that we can do on a player level to solve this issue.
Yeah, and I have a feeling that is a large part of how a lot of these people are winning. They are treating it like a job, and so they're able to take those bigger trips like that you're saying, like, no, we got to have like quick turnarounds on them, but that's what they're doing. That's why every single thing that you see streamed, you're like, oh yeah, so and so's here.
Yeah,
because he goes to everything.
Why that's why Zan Saeed is in Arkansas sometimes, and you see people at CCS, you see people at PPG tournaments. You see the same people at all of these tournaments because it is their part-time job, and to me it's a hobby. It's a hobby I want to do well in, but it's a hobby as opposed to something more. And until our sponsorship deals come rolling in,
right?
I'm checking the email. I'm checking the email inbox every day. And until our sponsorship deals come in, we do have to incorporate Lorcana into our life, as as opposed to the other way around. We have to fit Lorcana in the spaces, as opposed to making space for it. And to be honest, maybe that is the difference. That's the difference between us and DKP. That's the difference between the pros of Lorcana and the other 2,000 competitors who are at all of these DLCs.
The CCQ in San Diego is infinity.
You know what? Good. It's in May, right?
I mean, yes, but
yeah. Well, it'll be interesting. I think we talked about this weekend. We talked about the fact that there is not going to be a core constructed DLC for Winterspell or for what's it called, Wilds Unknown, because the next one is Infinity. So it'll be interesting because we could just kind of screw around at Set Champs this time around.
Yeah, that's true.
I really felt the pressure on the last 2 seasons of Set Championships because it was either practice for Milwaukee or it was practice for Richmond. And so even after I won a tournament leading up to Milwaukee, I was like, I mean, normally I would switch decks and continue going to these tournaments, but I'm not switching decks. I have to get practice on this. I have to continue this. But it is a little bit freeing in a way to not have that kind of overshadowing what is, just kind of a local level, competitive tournament, So that's kind of nice.
It hasn't been that long since that's been the case, but I feel like it's been forever.
Well, and somebody else on Twitter pointed out, much to my annoyance, that now that Richmond is done, there is not a scheduled DLC in North America before next rotation.
Right.
Or core constructed, I mean.
Oh,
Before
sure. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Obviously.
before next rotation, there is not another core constructed DLC in North America. And maybe not for 2026.
Right. That was the part. Like, I'm like, okay, rotation. I mean, it's. I don't view that the same way because I'm like, it's just going to be a complete shakeup. And,
Right.
like, it's more similar to, like, just getting a new set with a lot of relevant cards. But
Sure.
I would suspect that we don't see any more DLCs in 26. Like with
Yeah.
how so they've scheduled them out through June, right?
So Indianapolis is
Okay.
June 19th through the 21st. And then the North American Championship, so the Continental tournament, is August 28th through the 30th. And that is the last scheduled event that we know of.
This site says that there will be one in Japan in summer of 26 and one in Brazil in Q3 of 26. It just doesn't. So that's like, let's say September or August, September, something. I just don't think they're gonna then turn around, and get through Worlds and schedule new DLCs for the next season.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it is unlikely that we will get Worlds before 2027. What I don't think is unlikely, though, is, I mean, when did they announce these three? Or, like, this schedule? When did they announce Season 2? They announced it in, like, June last year, right? Yeah, it was in June last year was the first Worlds. And that is when, I think that is when they announced the Season 2 schedule. At least high level. That's when they announced the Season 2 schedule.
It looks like mid-July is when they actually provided the schedule.
Really?
But
did they just announce the announcement?
I think they announced the announcement. Yeah.
Yeah, they love doing that. Yeah, so, okay, June, July is when they had it finalized to the point where they could show us. And so I don't think that it's impossible that they do the same thing this year where, over the summer they say, okay, here's the schedule for season 3. Because they did say that they wanted their seasons to line up with rotation.
Yeah.
Right? So rotation is going to happen sometime in August, probably late August. And that will be the end of season 2, start of season 3. Now, I could totally see them keeping a similar schedule where they say, okay, great, we're going to have a DLC in October, we're going to have a DLC in January, we're going to have we're going to have one in the fall, one in the winter, one in the summer. Now, if they keep the same schedule, I think there's going to be a lot of unhappy players, including me, because you can't after all of this backlash and all of this feedback that you've gotten from players who said, we just want to play more. Like, just give us more opportunities to play. I think if they come back and they say, hey, three North American DLCs again, I think that's gonna, I don't want to be doom and gloom, but I think it might kill the game. If we have 3 DLCs for the 2026-2027 competitive year, I think there are too many competitive TCGs that exist in the same kind of infancy as this game.
Right.
That I think it's gonna kill the competitive scene of this game. So hopefully they will have taken the feedback to heart, and they will not just run back the same schedule as before.
They made major adjustments like immediately after the backlash. And I could see, like, if they're like, you know what, DLCs are too big for us to make a change at this point. And that's why they did everything else that they did. It sounds like they're listening. They reacted and hopefully would make a change going forward.
Yeah. So, and I think that is a point that they don't get enough credit for. And I don't know that I would classify us as like Ravensburger apologists, but the moment that you say anything positive about them, you're gonna get classified as that. I think we're pretty fair with our criticism and our suggestion and also our praise. Like I think they deserve to be recognized, especially when it comes to trying to predict the future. And I think that when season 2 was announced, they announced that they were going to have more DLCs than the previous season. The problem is that now the game was global. It was released in all markets around the world that they wanted to be released in. And so while total there were more DLCs in season 2 than season 1, they pulled some from North America in order to distribute them more evenly around the world. It's hard for me to be upset about something like that because I don't want to be, super American centric. But I will say that, it is disappointing because I'm not traveling outside of North America to go compete. So personally, having more DLCs around the world doesn't do anything if we have fewer in North America. Now, when this happened, the backlash was insane. Everybody started complaining. All the North American players started complaining. And I think what you were alluding to, they came back and said, hey, we hear ya. This was not something that we were going to do until season 3, but we have this thing called a CCQ that we are going to implement right now. CCQs were not originally supposed to be a part of season 2. They were supposed to be a part of season 3. So the fact that they moved up all of their plans for CCQs into season 2, they readjusted the qualification schedule to account for all of those invites that they were handing down to third-party events. And they did so, it was a fairly quick turnaround. It was like a month or two after they announced season 2. It was like maybe 8 weeks.
It was fast.
And I think that that's a pretty fast turnaround. And I think that they do deserve credit for that reaction. That reaction and that reaction time was good. That was a good thing that they did. They said, and even at the time they were like, we can't do any more actual DLCs, so here's what we're doing instead. And I think that was a fair compromise. If they have not, since last June or July, hearing the feedback, if they have not adjusted their season 3 schedule to account for all this feedback, I would be very surprised.
Yes.
I'd be very surprised if they hadn't. I think the schedule that they want to keep, the season schedule that they want to keep, with it being, September through August, is a little awkward. Not the time frame that I would do, especially when you have to account for Worlds, because I don't know where Worlds is supposed to fit in with this. Well, I think we will see a change. I think we're going to see an announcement this summer, probably at Indianapolis.
Oh.
Maybe not at Indianapolis, but we'll get an announcement of an announcement at Indianapolis.
Announcement, yeah.
Yeah, maybe we won't. Maybe we'll get like the idea and then we'll get the specifics later. I
Yeah.
hope that we don't get I hope they don't wait to tell us what season 3 is going to be until Continentals, which is end of August, and expect people to be happy traveling in with 2 months notice. Like I don't think that that's enough time to plan for all of this. And I think if they do it and if they do it well, I think some of the issues that I'm talking about and that a lot of people are talking about will resolve themselves. So, I know I was talking to some of our competitors in our community, and one suggestion was like a DLC every month, which is what they started with, 2 years ago. It started in May, and there was like May, June, July, August, September, October.
Yeah.
And, that was too quick of a cadence for me to
Yes.
compete at all of them.
Yes. Yeah, I
But
remember
that
at the
was,
time thinking, oh, this is too many.
yeah, this is a lot. Yeah. And especially like Atlanta and Chicago were like 2 weeks apart or something like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
But so like we went to Atlanta, we went to Vegas, we skipped Chicago, Fort Worth, and Seattle. But I could totally see a schedule where I do the Atlanta, Fort Worth, Seattle, and just kind of do every other one.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I decide that I can do every single month, then that's my decision as a competitor. I can make that decision.
Right.
What I don't like is not having that choice. Like I don't have that choice to make with the current lineup as it is. And if there was a DLC next month, I could choose whether or not I wanted to go to that and be like, you know what, I got really close in Richmond. I'm gonna push for it again at DLC whatever, in February. I'm gonna push. I'm gonna take more time off of work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really gonna buckle down and practice. This is worth it to me because I was so close in Richmond. I don't get that option now, and I am concerned that I won't be able to achieve my goals without structural assistance from Ravensburger.
DLCs should be on demand. And
They should fire on demand whenever they get 2,000 people. They should have
what a disaster.
Ravensburger representative full time at every single convention center, and when 2,000 people show up, that's when it fires.
Yep. There you go.
Well, I'm gonna let you go.
I started wondering if my mic could pick up my grumbling stomach. So
Oh yeah, I
we'll
gotta get some food. All right. Goodbye.